this session, we're going to look at I have my reasons. Now stop and think about it. We do things for reasons. And so ask yourself, why are you involved in this addiction? And be honest. What does this addiction do for you? And use the space below to write down your response. We did this before, but maybe you'll just take a second to recall that and you'll write it again. Maybe you've been thinking about it and you really have another reason. Maybe you didn't do it the first time. But let's take our time right now and think about it. What do you believe your addiction does for you? If I were going to say, listen, you got to close every door right now. No more. Abstinent. You can never do it again. Every door is shut. What would that make you feel like? And what would that feeling be saying? What's that anxiety saying? Why do you have to have it? That's what you want to write down. So try to get in touch with that. Take a few moments and write it down. It's not a pass-fail test. No one's going to judge you for this. You have everything to gain by telling the truth, okay? So dig deep and write it down. Now, when you look at your reason, here's the truth. It's an illusion. One of my past hobbies was that of an illusionist. An illusionist presents something that gives the illusion of another reality. The goal is to have your audience see one thing. In reality, there's quite something different that's occurring. And over the years, I've come to see that our brains are master illusionists. How deceptive we can be with ourselves. We present rational-sounding reasons for why we habitually do things, when in fact, those reasons are only smoke and mirrors. And when it comes to addictions, the psychological principles that we went over in last session of rationalization and cognitive dissonance and denial, they're simple ways of thinking that justify what we're doing. We want, who wants to believe, seriously, negative things about themselves? And so we paint a positive picture. If cigarettes were good for all the reasons people say they smoke, tobacco would be considered a wonder drug and widely used. It'd be widely used. I mean, if it really was something that comforts people and relaxes them and makes them deal with problems, makes them socially acceptable, man, pharmaceutical companies would be marketing it, right? And likewise, alcohol or cocaine cannot magically cure the things that bother us, but we think they can. They're only forms of escape. And it's human nature to try to rationalize our behavior with a reason that justifies it. And consequently, it's difficult for people to change harmful habits and addictions when they genuinely believe that there are benefits to what they're doing. Even though these justifications are powerful, if we're honest, we can face the truth and we can find out how wrong we really are. And this is the process of challenging our expectations that we've been talking about. And when you successfully do this, there are no good reasons left to continue using. Why can't I stop? Because we haven't considered all the reasons and how wrong they are. And when we do, and when we see that they're not true, then we can decide to stop. So let's look at some of the common reasons here. On the bottom of 12, we've listed some. It relaxes and releases tension. It comforts me. It gets me going. It helps me deal with my problems. It makes me socially acceptable. It relieves boredom. It is the only time I can numb out and relieve emotional pain. Hey, makes me cool. All right. Well, let's look at the first four in this session, and then we'll spend the last session looking at the last four. Here's the first one. It relaxes me and releases tension. Does it really? Or is it just shutting down the withdrawal symptoms? At one time, you may have felt like it was helping you relax. However, if your addiction really relieves stress, then everyone in high-stress jobs would take it. They'd be doing it. People that used would be the most stress-free people in the world. But they aren't. Are you generally stress-free, Or are you stress-free only when you perhaps smoke or take the pastries? Stressful situations will come. It's part of everyday life. But when they intermingle with the physical, emotional, and mental stress of rebound, withdrawal, your brain releases dopamine, which insists that you need your drug of choice again to return to normal. The true stress that you're relieving in reality is the effects of the rebound withdrawal, which lulls you into the illusion of believing that all your stress is gone. It convinces you that you would be depriving yourself of an effective way of stress release. And of course, it's simply not true. Like all illusions, you see only one thing, when in reality something quite different occurs. You have the capacity to find real ways to relieve stress, but your addiction exasperates the situation by delaying any real action toward the real life stressor. The truth is, when you decide to quit, you will reduce a lot of stress and will. And in the emotional resilience program that we have, you can learn real ways to relieve stress. You can find counseling if you want. There's ways to relieve stress in your life, and you don't need your habit to do it. How about this one? It comforts me. You know, oxytocin is referred to as the love hormone. That's because it initially produces a reaction that's similar to our body's natural way of comforting and soothing us when we share closeness with others. Now, it's true. Alcohol, nicotine, other substances mimic our natural comforter. However, it's only why the substance is used, and only in the early stages, that it's able to mimic our natural way of self-soothing. Once in the addiction cycle, tolerance decreases its ability. Listen now, that's important. Tolerance decreases its ability to comfort as we require increasingly more to reach the comfort we seek. Is this real comfort, or are we simply calming down the rebound withdrawal effects in reaction to dopamine, which signal our desire to use again? Are we calming down the agitating need to have perhaps another cigarette, which is false stress, or something that's actually stressful? And I really want to challenge you to think about the effects of your habit, that it's really that is what we're reacting to. Well, here's one. It gets me going. You know, some people say it calms me down. This one says it gets me going. Comforting and relaxing is one thing, but many people look to their habit or addiction to help them get going and give them energy. Here again, there's a very real issue with rebound intolerance. Are you needing the energy and pick-me-up because of your true nature, or because you're having a rebound effect that makes you tired, needing a stimulant? Perhaps it's a trigger when you first get up and your brain is signaling the dopamine, and that's saying you have to have it. Are you needing more of it when you started because of your tolerance to the substance? How many people start with just that little bit of coffee, and then pretty soon it's 2 cups and maybe 3 cups? Are you needing more of it than when you started because of your tolerance? If this is true, you're not solving the problem. You're not solving the problem. There are better ways to naturally feel more energy. Good nutrition and exercise will help. Relieving the internal chatter of lies is another helpful way to relieve stress, which, you guessed it, results in more energy. We need to solve the real issues and not mask them with our habits. And then it helps me solve my problems. Now there's an illusion. Your addiction makes you numb to your problems. It may provide a temporary escape, but in no way is it solving your problem. At best, it may help you temporarily not care about your problems, but is that solving them? In fact, many times it only exasperates your situation and causes more fallout. That's like saying that procrastination, because you temporarily forget about your deadline, gets your report in time. No. It only aggravates it. Likewise, your addiction is not helping you deal with your problem. It is helping you escape from it. The real solution is to be clean from your habits and allow your brain to function normally. In fact, in many of the things like this that are chemically based, you get this post-acute withdrawal. Your brain is in a fog. And so it takes some time, even after you quit, to get that brain regulating again. So a lot of this is because you have that fog. And what you're really trying to solve is what the addiction and the habits have caused in the first place. And it may take you a little time to get over it, but you will get over it, and there'll be a better life for you. You'll get back to the way your brain is supposed to function if you give yourself a chance. The real solution is to be clean from your addiction and allow your brain to return to its way it should normally function. You can find real help in your situation, but the answers don't lie in your habits. So stop here. Look over these first 4 again and be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, man, am I buying the lie? Is this just an illusion? And if you decide to stop, what am I afraid of? What do I think will happen? Well, the fact is you can stop. And you can overcome each one of these through other means that isn't addictive, through the help that you can get from others. So let's stop here, and then in the final session, we'll look at the last 4.